I'm Pat Corey, the very proud head of Global Jaya School. Today, coming from our visual arts studio in the theater complex, we are going to welcome you to this year's 2022 IBDP Visual Arts Exhibition. Our students have been hard at work, as they always are, developing inspiration, doing their research, building their portfolios, pulling together the elements that will make this a special exhibition. Art in and of itself is a bit of a unique endeavor. Students, it's not like memorizing facts and conducting science experiments. Students do their research, they identify areas of interest, they find other people in the field who have developed a talent and a skill, and they learn about that talent and skill. They learn about their technique. And through the course of developing their idea, identifying techniques, doing the research and building their sketchbook, they come up with their own senses of what they would like to explore in their exhibition. So really our students go on a 16 to 18 month journey as they do their investigation, do their research, sketch out their thoughts, and begin the iterative development of their exhibition pieces. So we have students that are both SL students and HL students. SL students do a fewer number of pieces than do the HL. What you will see in this online exhibition is a presentation by each of our students as they share with you their journey, as they share with you their works that they have curated and as they're being presented for evaluation by the IB. It's been a ton of work, and for the second year in a row, they've done it for the majority online. So please take this opportunity, spend some time, enjoy the work of our students, where and when possible, provide them with the positive feedback that they deserve. I'm looking forward to a very special arts exhibition. Thank you to Pac Santosa, Ibu Adesti. Congratulations to the students. We wish you well and good luck on this year's exhibition.
Hello everyone, my name is Aleka and I'm the representative of Batch 22. Today I just wanted to come here and speak on our exhibition and the people who have worked hard to create it, which are my classmates, my teachers, and the marketing team, and everybody who has supported us throughout this journey. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to Pasantosa and Bu Adisti, who have been by all of the students' sides to create this exhibition and for letting us persevere and pushing us to persevere throughout this journey and throughout the 2 hard years of DP to have created this. And this applies to both the visual arts HL and SL students who have worked hard to create their exhibitions, create their themes, and commit to every coursework that has gone through out this year. And I just want to speak on the theme of our exhibition, which is existence. The reason why that is our theme is because everybody's themes or sub-themes in general speak on an aspect of existence or human existence and all kinds of existence. And we all wanted to coincide with one another and relate with one another and kind of understand that each of our existences are very important, which is why we've come up to this conclusion of creating that as our umbrella theme. And you know, for the past 2 years we've experienced a lot of trials and a lot of turmoils because of, well, the pandemic, as well as you know, visual arts being a very rigorous subject, and yet we've all come together and have managed to create this exhibition. And although we unfortunately could not host it all together, all 9 of us, there are 9 students, to create this together in one place, in one venue, which is usually our school. Everybody has worked hard to find their own venue and set up their own panels and set up their own exhibition pieces so that you all could see them today in the videos that you'll be seeing later on. And I just want to say that everybody's works are very incredible and very diverse. Some of us enjoy digital art more, some of us enjoy the traditional art more, and a lot of us also divulge into photography, and it'll be really, really interesting to see how everybody has worked hard. And I want you all to just understand the amount of appreciation you should give to these students, because I know that my classmates worked incredibly hard to show you everything that they're going to show you today. And just to wrap it up, I hope you enjoy, and please leave a like or something like that, and understand that we've all tried our best throughout these 2 years, and this is how we are going to show our appreciation and hope you show your appreciation, and how we're also going to display all of our hard work and all of our efforts that have been pushed throughout the 2 DP years. Thank you.
I grew up scared of using too much color. I did not personally think that though, not until my mother had mentioned that all my older works seemed dark, somber. In comparison to my works now, when she did, I did not see why I was scared. I was always a colorful child, somewhat eccentric for some people's taste. But I was generally quite joyful. However, she was right. All my paintings and drawings lacked the flair I have now, which has made me realize the importance of color, especially in my art style and way of concepting. As for the exhibition structure, I have arranged it so that each work complements one another. Whether by color, size, or theme, I hope to have each piece contribute to the exhibition with its own charm. Humanity in color is a theme that I've decided to convey from my body of work. It is not only perfect for my exhibition, but it precisely suits my journey as an aspiring artist. Currently, as I apply for universities, wait for more response letters, and constantly check my portfolio for imperfections, I'm still carefully curating myself and my art. I have figured out that I could not just speak selfishly on my struggles, but I should also speak on how my struggles can transcend relevant issues. I figured that there must be a quote-unquote me way to help the world and be of good influence. I aspire to advocate for my beliefs through my paintings, sculptures, drawings, and any work I create. I believe that my art should be a bridge for my thought process and beliefs to cross over to those who believe strongly in the same things, or are still learning, or want to change. Moreover, as I am still discovering and exploring my art style, using color to define all these things about my and others' humanity goes well with my stylistic choices and interest in vibrancy. Using color also still means implementing neutrality when it is needed, like using black and white, but it savors room for still using brightness and intricacy from the palette to create all emotions carefully. The artworks I have created cover sub-themes based on things we experience as humans, whether it is emotions like love and pain, varied cultures, or struggles due to race. I've chosen to discuss the nooks and crannies of humanity to show my audience all the things that make us have humanity. I tried my best to go over surface level themes and concepts to deliver the depth of humanity and how everyone may experience similar struggles or successes, yet remain unique. In creating all these works, I found adventure. Seeing that experimentation and exploration was encouraged throughout the process, I got to see and discover sides of myself I would not usually see, both in and outside of art. In particular, although relatively more straightforward for most people, I found that I thoroughly enjoy traditional art methods more. Meaning, when I first started creating my digital pieces, I saw that I was quicker in painting or drawing directly than using my Wacom tablet. Nevertheless, because of the requirements that had to be covered for the exhibition works, I got to seriously dedicate time and effort to create a digital work with my own chosen concept. However, most of my works still lay under the more traditional fine art spectrum because of my belief that my art style and confidence up to this time still show my best self, the best version of my art. Like I said, almost all the artworks I create now are to bridge my own beliefs, struggles, occurrences with my audience, prioritizing relevancy and connections. Heart of Gold in particular covers the concept of how humans are inherently always trying to be good, but being good does not equate to perfection. I believe that is a thought that almost everyone struggles with, that being good means you have to commit to no mistakes, which is a big part of being human and a big part of humanity, and I want to convey throughout the whole entire body of work that being perfect is not what we should aspire to do.
Hello everyone, my name is Anindya Chandrika and I'm from Global Jaya School. Welcome to my IBDP Visual Arts exhibition. IBDP has allowed me to exhibit my emotional journey with human emotions as my chosen focal theme through this exhibition. I will accompany you through all 5 of my art pieces that explore my perspective, personal experience, and interpretation of different human emotions, starting from the most left, which is called Know It All. Through this dry flower vase from clay and coated with acrylic paint, I want to interpret the knowledge I got from the famous Boba and Kiki effect result. The result of the investigation also often happens with human emotions. As humans in the social world, we often assume other people's emotions, even though it is not yet certain that the person truly felt that way. In fact, no one will ever fully understand others' emotions, so that those of us who often assume other people's feelings are often considered as a know-it-all person. This art piece acts as a disclaimer for my audience that before we further explore the emotions of human through my personal emotional journey within this exhibition, we must remember that human emotion itself is hard to understand, and each and every one of us will experience different things. The next art piece is Kita Berdua. Kita Berdua is a digital drawing that shows how human emotions usually are. As humans, there must be a side of ourselves that we never expose to the world, represented with the figure on the left. At the same time, we will always try to exhibit the best side of ourselves, much like the confident figure on the right. Nevertheless, we must not forget that there will always be a low point in our lives. Through this digital drawing, I want to show how we as humans certainly feel happy, strong, and brave. Still, we also have a fragile side that we usually conceal from the world, represented through specific colors and animal symbolism. Lion as a symbol of braveness and butterfly symbolizing fragility. Sweet and Sour is a series of digital drawing artwork created to explore and express my point of view of both joy and sorrow through art and is inspired by vector arts. Through the expressions portrayed, the vibrant choice of solid colors, and messy like brush strokes, this exhibition piece portrays the art of these specific emotions, as sometimes joy can lead to impatience and chaos. At the same time, sorrow and emptiness can be beautiful at times. However, they are much like the sweet and sour of life. It will be tasteless without the both. The fourth piece is called Somewhere Only We Know. Inspired by the song by Keen, this art piece is a personal interpretation of depression. The digital drawing portrays a place for people with depression to go to and feel secure. Therefore, I depict my bathroom as a safe place to hide from the world and cry out all of my thoughts and worries. While experiencing this emotion, the outside world truly felt suffocating and scary, which is represented with the red smoke-like illustration around the bathroom door depicting one's refusal to go outside of their comfort space. The last piece is the most personal out of the whole exhibition, which is called Chapters of Loss. This installation is a tribute to my late mother who lost the battle to cancer 4 years ago. She was an amazing quilter, and sewing, stitching, and embroidery are handed-down skills that I got from her. Inspired by the 5 stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, I aim to portray my interpretation of these stages of emotions with an installation using my mom's old patch fabric, calico fabric, embroidery thread, and frame. I explore my emotional struggle journey and try to convey to share my audience what I felt during those times. In the denial stage, I portray myself while covering my ears and eyes with my arms. This symbolizes the refusal of oneself to believe that their dearest person is really gone. While the anger stage is a violent chapter where one will feel angry at everyone, everything, even themselves. The bargaining stage is where we hurt ourselves while begging for a miracle to happen, which is depicted through the thorny vines. At the same time, depression is where it feels like we are drowning. We reach out for help, but the only one who's able to help is ourselves. Therefore, the acceptance stage is where we try to survive and continue our lives, which I portray to an embroidery of myself hugging my soul. To maintain the continuity of the exhibition pieces, I mostly use vibrant and solid colors with a messy-like art style to represent the complexity of human emotion. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I make the most out of the limited space available to arrange this home-based exhibition with the flow from Know It All, Kita Berdua, and continue on to Lian. I truly hope that the audience can view the journey of various human emotions through my perspective. With this, we are at the end of my exhibition tour. Thank you.
Growing up in a very artistic family and being involved in the fashion industry as a model at a young age has significantly influenced my artworks. Through my upbringing and the fashion issues that I value and speak up about, I focused on the theme of the fashion world and my experiences in photo shoots. My art style incorporates colorful and light color palettes with texture to portray fashion diversity, representation, and nature altogether. I explored different media such as 2D paintings, mixed media canvases, collages, stitching fabrics to create clothes, and digital art photography throughout the exhibition. Additionally, I aim to reflect and raise awareness on environmental and fashion-related issues that I am compassionate about. I utilize environmental and fashion elements in my artworks while focusing on colors and texture through the visual and contextual coherence expressed in my art. I practiced my figure drawing skills and illustrated fashion dresses with acrylic and oil paint on canvas in Couture Dress collection. Inspired by Antonia Lopez's work, these 8 beautiful runway dresses from various fashion designers are illustrated with different models of different skin tone, hairstyle, hair color, ethnicity, and race to emphasize the beauty of diversity. The reoccurring butterflies and my admiration for their beauty are portrayed in Lavender Utopia, a self-portrait inspired by surrealism and my childhood fantasies. The butterfly wings reflect my admiration for watching Victoria's Secret fashion shows and feeling empowered as a feminine woman through their uniquely designed wings, fashion shows, and angelic models walking on the runway. And my other artwork, called The Butterfly Effect, reflects the differences of everyone through the butterfly's different shapes, colors, and sizes, because everyone has something unique to offer to the world. Thus, people with various sizes, color, and their own uniqueness should be represented more within the fashion industry. In terms of cultural context intertwined with my fashion themed, I focus on representing my Dutch and Indonesian culture in the Dutch x Indonesia clothing piece. I improved my designing and stitching skills to create a combination of traditional Dutch clothing using batik fabrics. The chosen batik fabric here, with many colors, each symbolizes something. Like red is seen in the Indonesian flag, represents bravery. Orange symbolizes unity and refers to the Dutch royal family, House of Oranje. The green here represents the growth and harmony between both countries since they were colonies, and the lined gold details the richness of both my Indonesian and Dutch culture. I also explored controversial issues related to the fast fashion industry, such as the negative impact and waste that the fast fashion industry has on the environment in No Planet B, an acrylic paint and mixed media on canvas, which encourages sustainability through the stitched fabric samples from my dad's fashion brand, Distressed, and vintage sewing machine to show the many ways we could upcycle fashion. The use of earth-tone fabrics with the colors brown, green, blue, and the floral patterns represent our globe and elements in our environment like land, water, and nature. Likewise, my mixed media work titled Mass Consumerism raises awareness on the issue of consumerism and overconsumption in fashion, as it perpetuates landfills and waste by using bills, sample fabrics, and threads to represent the issue. Being a Muslim myself and living in Indonesia, where Islam is the main religion, I created a collage on canvas titled Hypocrisy of Headscarf. I wanted to communicate the issue and hypocrisy of the media regarding Gucci promoting headscarves as a fashion trend in the media, while many Muslim hijabis are struggling to have the freedom to wear a veil and are labeled as terrorists in the media. Furthermore, the installation called My Modeling Journey enforces nostalgia since it visualizes my modeling career growth from where I started and until now, and reflects the themes and photo shoots that I partake in. This installation was challenging because it was my first time digitally editing photographs and exploring different textures from each photo shoot's concept, especially with the photography installation positioned in the center. For the audience to walk around and see all the artworks all together really expresses my contribution to the fashion world through art.
Hi, my name is Dasha Opstal, and today I will be presenting you my exhibition, Red, an Exploration of What It Means to Be a Woman. Being the kid sister of 2 older brothers, despite having the same set of parents, being brought up in the same environment, and even having similar capabilities, there were a different set of expectations I had to adhere to, a different set of experiences, and a different set of struggles. When thinking about my life as a woman, or reminiscing about my growing up as a girl, the color red speaks to me. Red is a color of duality. On one hand, it is a symbol of feminine beauty and womanhood, and on the other, pure rage and anger. This is incredibly representative of how growing up a woman can be equally beautiful and frustrating, which is why I've included the color in all of my pieces as a symbolic element or a connection to femininity. My first piece is Origins. Medusa is often demonized by the media, when in actuality, she only got the snakes on her head because she was raped. She was punished for a crime committed against her, as many women are in real life. With this piece, I intend to reframe Medusa and show her for what she really is, a victim. My second piece is called Are You Eve or Mary? These types are deemed as mutually exclusive, therefore a woman can't be sexually attractive and respectable, and vice versa. As a young girl raised in a fairly religious community, this idea was reinforced by the praising of Mary and the condemnation of Eve. As a 13-year-old, I deprived myself of makeup, jewelry, or fitted clothes in the belief that being attractive would decrease my value as a woman. With this piece, I combine iconic aspects of the two religious figures, and by doing so, I illustrate a symbolic representation of the realization that I, nor any woman, could possibly ever fit into these binaries, and that is okay. My third piece is called Shades of Rage. Though both men and women experience a full range of emotions, we are expected to express them differently. Growing up in Indonesia, the men I knew always had a strong sense of masculine pride. If they were ever challenged, threatened, or insulted, the solution was often physical violence. While the girls I knew expressed their anger almost silently, with the spreading of vicious rumors, passive-aggressive remarks, and name-calling. And even then, they would still be deemed rude, unladylike, or aggressive. This piece depicts just this. While men get to fully express their anger in red, women get a diluted, suppressed version of this anger, pink. My next piece is called See What I See, You Think the Same. For women, and especially young girls, there's an overwhelming amount of pressure to maintain a certain physique. For someone who's been clinically underweight most of my life, I spent a great deal of time and energy in an attempt to make myself thinner. I meticulously counted calories, consumed an excessive amount of laxatives, and constantly weighed myself and felt proud of my body only when I starved it. But the amount of weight I lost never mattered, because whether I lost 3 kilos or 10, the number of the scale was always too much. I would always feel disconnected from my body, like it was a slab of meat or a vessel that housed my mind and heart, even if my mind and heart deeply resented and rejected it. Meanwhile, my peers praised my thin physique and were perplexed at my unrelenting need to slenderize myself. In moments like these, I had wished that those who complimented me could see my body the way I saw it. Through this piece, I invite the viewer into the mind of somebody with body dysmorphia. By showing my own body from a higher angle, I show the viewer my literal perspective, and with this, I hope viewers can empathize or at least relate to this struggle. My next piece explores similar themes, and it's called Rubber Skin. With the emergence of social media and countless ways to alter your appearance, girls are exposed to tons of heavily edited, carefully calculated photos and videos of celebrities and think to themselves, why don't I look like that? Hearing something along the lines of, when I get to this age, I want to alter this part of my face wasn't uncommon. In Rubber Skin, I explore this insecurity many young girls have. Through combining elements of surrealism, I've created an exaggerated depiction of what it would be like if one could mold their face to their liking. Through this series of portraits, the subject increasingly becomes more morphed or cartoon-like. Once she fixes one thing about her face, she moves on to the next, until at her final stage she appears completely unrecognizable, telling viewers that no matter how much one alters their appearance, insecurity is never a guarantee to go away. Her skin is stretched, giving a gory representation of how much she's changed from her original self. As the portraits progress, the shades of red increasingly turn more vibrant, symbolizing how this compulsive need for perfection is unfortunately a feminine trait. All in all, with this piece, I intend to illustrate the destructiveness of feminine ideals on women's self-perception. My next piece is called Flooded. Rape. For some, they are horribly injured, some become pregnant, some contract HIV. However, the emotional trauma that comes after rape can be worse than any physical injury. There are 525,600 minutes in each non-leap year, or 31,536,000 seconds each year. This makes one victim of rape or sexual assault every 133 seconds, or about one every 2 minutes. 90% of victims of rape are women. For women, when walking anywhere alone at night, past a group of men, or in any scenario in which we are vulnerable, we've trained ourselves to think the worst. Because the worst has happened to a woman we know, a woman close to us, a woman we've seen on the news, or ourselves. Seeing statistics, graphs, headlines, and news articles can sometimes allow us to forget the faces behind these stories. The women who were robbed of their agency, their bodily autonomy, their right to live peaceful lives. But to realize the scale in which these crimes are committed can be overwhelming. Flooded is a visualization of this fear. My ceiling leaks, with each drop representing a victim of sexual assault. With the rate of these crimes, my bedroom would soon flood as if it were on a sinking ship. Because if I were to be unlucky enough to be a victim of rape or sexual assault, I know I would be powerless. My next piece is called Emergence. Emergence mimics a pivotal moment in my adolescence, the time I had the sudden urge to try on my mother's heels late at night out of curiosity. Before this, I never felt comfortable in my femininity. I thought femininity would make me weak or make me less respectable. But after trying on these heels, I realized how much being feminine made me feel actually very powerful. In this self-portrait, the red heels immediately stand out as they are the sole element in this piece that dons any color, symbolizing how utterly ridiculous they seemed to me at the time. Conversely, the figure, myself, almost fades into the background, symbolic of how invisible I felt at the time. These heels made me feel seen. With this work, there's also an incredible sense of intimacy, as this was a very private, intimate moment for me. The figure, myself, is viewed from a lower, unflattering angle, as if I were caught off guard. My final piece is called Modern Woman. For too long, men and women have been portrayed in art according to what is expected of them. A great man was strong or intelligent, while a great woman was beautiful, sexually attractive, and obedient. Particularly, the female nude has been historically curated for male viewers and subsequently idealized and objectified. Modern Woman, a play on Renaissance woman, intends to subvert conventions of the female nudes and portrayals of women in art. The subject stares down at the viewer. With her arms crossed, she owns her body. The lower angle in which she is viewed from indicates that she, the female nude, for once is in the position of power over the viewer. She controls how she is perceived. The subject is also portrayed in shades of warm gray, alluding to the many statues of powerful men. This makes a statement of how women are barely ever portrayed in the same light, breaking the binary of expectations placed upon the sexes. Her bareness indicates that she is comfortable in her sexuality, and that is a strength. She says, "I can be nude and strong, just like any man can be." She bears a striking shade of red lipstick, a symbol of female strength, because her true strength is her femininity. She is not a particular woman, but the woman in my head that best represents what was missing in the portrayals of the female body in art: agency over said body.
Hi everyone, welcome to my IBDP Visual Arts exhibition. My name is Myra and I'm from Global Jaya School. With the IBDP curriculum, I was given an opportunity to explore my choice of theme that I myself relate to. That is a look into a teenager's life. which explores the experiences and issues that commonly happen to teenagers in the 21st century. I have a total of 7 works ranging from digital art to sculpture and short videos in this exhibition. The first artwork, Escape, is a digital art created by collaging different pictures of real-life objects. This artwork holds the meaning of how teenagers perceive the media, that tells how the teenagers in this modern society often escape reality through the media or technology. The colorful and funky color tones are a way to show how the young adults or teenagers see the media in a positive way, which they use the media as their own entertainment, even to educate themselves. The colorful tones are supposed to give off the feeling of emerging and entertaining, of which the audience would also get attracted to the televisions. The strings or webs indicate how the person in the middle is losing their life's aspects, and they are getting distant from the real life, emerging into the so-called virtual reality. The second artwork, titled Parents' Nightmare, is a clay art mixed with collage art and 3D objects such as cables. This artwork holds a meaning of how older generations or parents perceive the media. The parents' point of view towards the media is mainly surrounded by the negativity of the media, represented by the monster. The collage art represents the media, where it has countless pieces of knowledge surrounded by words from poems regarding the negative impact of the media. Below the monster, there are teenagers who are enslaved by the media. This shows how the media can easily take over someone's life because of the contents that they provide. Having to live under the standards of society and go through the set cycle of life, teenagers often feel pressure. This is portrayed by the third artwork, titled The Ships of Reality, which is a 3D work of acrylic painting and recycled papers. Through this artwork, it can be seen how there are torn papers, which are tests from school, and there can be seen a fictional palace that represents how most teenagers disobey their set paths just to pursue their greater dreams, similar to the first artwork, to escape, to have freedom for themselves. The fourth work, titled Hidden Truths, is my experiment on short films, where I implemented stop-motion techniques in one of the 2 short films. These short films are supported by the mannequins creating the work as an installation, immersing the audience with these stories. Only ourselves who knows who we truly are. In our life, people tend to make assumptions about others, which don't make those assumptions true. All individuals have their own struggles and successfulness that are unique between each of those individuals. Short film on the right tells a story of a person whose parents are controlling their life path as they are unable to free their own mind and desire. Short film on the left tells a story of a person's fear of not finding genuine love while struggling with their insecurities. In this installation, each of the short films are supported by different objects. The short film on the left is supported by a swing that's supposed to symbolize loneliness, whereas the short film on the right is supported by a table full of books that represents the burden and stress that the parents have affected them. The fifth work, titled Stairway to Blank, is a mixed media painting combining acrylic crayons, color pencils, and spray paints. Through this artwork, the audience can interpret many things. Some of the things are that they feel like a third person watching themselves live life as they judge themselves and think that every decision or step that they take will influence themselves and their surroundings. Another interpretation can be related to overthinking and insecurity, which I myself as the artist has intended to convey how with overthinking and insecurity, you may get distracted and will end up in a negative state. The sixth work, titled Illusory Whisperers, portrays a person with a transparent blindfold surrounded with dark human figures. It is intended to show how most of the time people are pessimistic, doesn't want to look at the positive side of things, when they could have avoided problems that are insignificant but they choose to believe unnecessary thoughts or perspectives. The seventh and last work, titled Kalau, is a graphic painting that is supposed to represent a possible and sadly common end for teenagers whom's tired of dealing with their problems. A bedroom holds a person's story as if filled with personal belongings that hold emotions and memories. Hindered from the influence of other people, it secluded a person's life from the outside world. Abandoned, yet the memory still lingers. With an intention to help the audience to feel a connection, showing that they are not alone, I have tried to implement realistic elements into every artwork for the exhibition. All of my artworks are inspired during the time I experienced the emotions and thoughts that are intended through the works. Allowing my personal stories into the artworks allowed me to immerse myself with the work, which makes it easier to convey the intended messages to the audience. Since the COVID-19 pandemic is still going, I arranged my home-based exhibition as a space that was able to showcase my exhibition efficiently with limited space. I created a layout in which the works are arranged to storytell experiences that teenagers might go through. The arrangement of the works started with escape and the ships of reality that showcase an act of escape or freedom placed at the very end of both sides. The flow continues as it navigates from the act of escaping, influence and perspectives, to the end.
Hello everyone, welcome to my IBDP Visual Art Exhibition. My name is Edith and I am from Global Jaya School.
The theme of this exhibition is the women's movement. I have a total of 7 works created in this exhibition. I believe that gender inequality is still playing a role into the society. Therefore, the artworks are based on women's issues that are rarely discussed. The topic is based on personal experiences as well as I found myself struggling to find the courage to step forward, losing confidence in my body, and constantly comparing myself to others. Through these artworks, I can let go of my hidden feelings that were always kept from people, including the closest ones. The dominant colors for most paintings are bright, as bright colors symbolize happiness and optimism. Thus, the reason is to make the audience comfortable by looking at the artwork. Visual art can help people express themselves positively and gain confidence. The first artwork in this exhibition is called Imaginary. This artwork is about a representative portrait of a woman. Portraying a woman figure tells different stories and meanings. With the help of the imagination's figure, this both interpretations as lion meaning woman is as strong as the king of jungle. Also, the equality hand-proof woman needs justice. The second artwork is called Reminiscing. A portrait of my grandmother who passed away 10 years ago being the highlight of the reminiscing artwork. This artwork is to remember the past and the positive things she had been doing for the rest of her life. And it also to acknowledge the relationship within the person who passed away has shifted from physical presence to memory. Also, it is to receive the love and support of remaining family and friends. The third artwork for this exhibition is called Be Careful My Eyes Are Watching. This artwork is about how eyes can see everything, observable or undesirable bullying behind a person's back. For example, seeing negative comments received on social media can affect mental health. Eyes can also be a factor of insecurities. If we see something higher than ourselves, it can become self-doubt. The fourth artwork is called Self-Identity and is created in digital painting. This artwork makes people realize that being proud of our own identity is important. Whoever or what shape you are, people have their uniqueness. Being proud is just another way of stating you have a strong feeling of self-worth when you are pleased with yourself. People who are proud of themselves have a strong sense of self-worth. Also, many people have been devastated by stretch marks on their bodies. People should embrace their stretch marks because it is a work of art. All bodies go through natural changes that stretch marks should be appreciated. The fifth artwork for this exhibition is called Coloring. The art coloring is about the beauty of women's bodies, whereas using different types of colors can show the uniqueness of an individual. It is giving the message that human bodies are all different and has their own beauty. This is intended to make the audience become more confident about their bodies. This artwork is called Bringing Back Positivity into the World. This is an illustration from my photographs. The message is body positivity is based on the belief that feeling good about ourselves and accepting the looks can help our mental health and perform at our best. The shape of this illustration is a globe, and the circle inside the world represents news or social media. By regularly exposing ourselves to the idle body type on social media, you might harm your body image by constantly comparing yourself to unattainable expectations. Therefore, this project is to help maintain people's self-love and confidence. The Hands of the Victim is a sculpture that tells a traumatizing story of a woman who had been sexually harassed and could not tell assault because she was too scared. Sexual assault is hard to talk about because the victims may experience trauma, anxiety, or shame. Therefore, this project is to help victims to fight for their rights and heal from the past. Many victims may think of half the issue was their fault, which is very untrue. Being free from sexual harassment is a human right that everyone, especially women, should have. Therefore, the meaning of green leaves is healing. It symbolized fertility and growth. The red rose symbolized power and has an energizing color. The pieces are exhibited because it has a solid correlation to my personal experiences. Thus, I could not express my feelings enough. Therefore, I wanted to express it through the paintings, and I hope the audience who feel the same may gain confidence and consciousness. I arranged the exhibition accordingly based on the meaning. Hence, I exhibited the first two artworks about gender inequality, then bullying, another three paintings about body positivity, and the last one about sexual harassment issue. I arranged based on the topics because I wanted the audience to feel the particular feeling from each issue before moving on to the next. I intended to make the audience that may experience the same feel that they are significant and not their fault.
Hi, my name is Vanessa, and I'll be taking you on a tour of my IBDP art exhibition that revolves around the reality of being a teenager in the 21st century. My exhibition will be giving you a glimpse into a teenager's mind through showcasing a variety of struggles faced by not only myself but also my peers. The colors visible in each of my artworks were selected on purpose as each color conveyed a different meaning, which helped strengthen the work as a whole. I will be showcasing my artwork from oldest to most recent to better encapsulate not only the overall theme, but to also highlight my progress throughout the 2 years in the IBDP art program. As we indulge into my selected theme, my first work is titled Emotions Taking Over. The purpose behind Emotions Taking Over is to shed light on the importance of teen emotions. It was inspired by a conversation I had with a friend of mine as we talked about how adults tend to disregard how we feel, labeling it as overdramatic or blaming it on our hormones. The composition between the colorful circles with facial features surrounding the figure in the middle was done on purpose to create a chaotic sense to the artwork. Sugar High covers a more serious topic, which is drug addiction. I wanted to add a twist to the artwork by substituting the pills coming out of the pill bottles with different candies. I figured that drugs and candies share a similarity, excessive consumption causes addictions to occur, and of course, side effects to kick in. I also wanted the use of candies to add a childlike innocence to the heavy topic of drug addiction to further emphasize the seriousness of the topic. I wanted to encapsulate the importance of a parental figure, in this case, a father figure. The inspiration of this artwork was from a picture of my mom and I in Disneyland. Many would claim that this place is the happiest place on earth. I wanted to create a contrast in meaning by leaving the left side of the picture frame empty in contrast to the right. The left side being a dark blue transparent shade to represent the absence of a father figure. The dark blue used to create the silhouette of the father figure was done on purpose to represent the feeling of loneliness, and in addition, the cold-like room was achieved by using cool tones. The lack of enthusiasm visible in the child's facial expression, despite being in the happiest place on earth, shows how the child defines happy, which is when she's with her father. The teddy bear placed on the right further symbolizes the father's absence, as the teddy bear gives the child more comfort and presence rather than her own father. I wanted to cover on the loss of innocence and youth amongst teenagers, and to be fair, this artwork can be interpreted in many different ways. This painting is inspired by the biblical story of Adam and Eve. The purpose is to show how teenagers progress in life through facing the harsh reality of the world. The flower placed on the female figure's head was done on purpose to further strengthen the meaning of the artwork, as a lily flower commonly symbolizes purity. The lily flower blooming represents a new beginning to reality. The use of different shades of green was used to create an ethereal scenery that creates an illusion of the harsh world. My fifth work, titled So This Is Love, was done with acrylic and gouache on a 40x40 wooden panel. I was inspired by analyzing the relationships present within my reach, and I realized how there tends to be a power dynamic present in these relationships. The body structure of the hand holding one other hand down is a sign of dominance, despite the glamorized background that utilizes the color pink to symbolize love and kindness. I was inspired by the movie Final Destination, more specifically the scene where the roller coaster malfunctions and everyone is at risk. I wanted to incorporate the concept of a risky theme park ride with the idea that the future is unpredictable and the common saying that the future is always bright. I wanted to depict the constant fear of failing and doubts about the future that many teenagers experience. The tangled railing signified the risky and unpredictable ride to the future, as the yellow beaming portal depicts the bright yet erratic future. The following piece, titled Is This Better, was done with oil and acrylic on canvas but transported digitally to complete the background. I wanted to create a contrast in meaning between my very first artwork and this artwork. I also wanted to capture my progression in the ability to create facial expressions and facial structures with paint. The purpose of this artwork is to capture the aftermath when adults continuously underestimate how a teenager feels. With the constant gaslighting, it forces these teenagers to build up a wall to conceal their true emotions, thinking that it will make them come off as less sensitive. The colors meshed on purpose together highlights what it's like to conceal all your emotions. I wanted the colors to be as faint to portray the progression of losing touch with your emotions. The distortion on the female figure's face was done on purpose to depict how draining it can get to continuously sugarcoat how you feel. The feeling of wanting to fit in is universal. I was inspired to create I Want to Fit In based on the impact social media has on society. Social media curates the most unrealistic standards that many aspire to achieve, thus creating a toxic environment through creating the endless pressure of having to fit in. The red swirling background was purposely created to initiate the feeling of suspense, which was inspired by watching multiple horror movies. The simple yet intense portrait captures a post-breakdown moment, which further strengthens the ideology of wanting to fit in. I think that it is worth to mention that all the colors selected for each of my artworks were selected on purpose to not only complement the artwork as a whole, but to also strengthen the message I'm trying to convey. As my exhibition comes to an end, I hope you enjoyed my exhibition and I'd like to thank you for watching.
Hello everyone, welcome to my exhibition. Today, I'll be presenting artworks that I made during the 2 years of Visual Arts SL program covering the theme of living with COVID. The reason why I chose this theme is because I see it as a rare opportunity to explore a new and unique topic. I hope to use this chance to share my thoughts and experience of how I lived through the pandemic, as I believe the virus would end in a few years. My intention was to inform the audience, starting with COVID-19 itself, how we feel during the quarantine, and the changes for a new normal life to prevent the spread of the virus. This allows me to explore the global context of orientation in space and time, as we're currently experiencing a turning point in history. Since COVID-19 has changed several aspects in our lives, the audience would look back on the times they spent before the pandemic and embrace a new normal life. My first artwork is a series of photography digital images that features myself looking at the past self in the mirror. I wanted to express the difference the pandemic has caused in the life of a student. The mirror is used as a representation of the past, whereas the one next to it represents the present that we are living during the pandemic. The idea behind this artwork is that people would see themselves in the past as they are in denial of what happened in the current situation, since the pandemic is a shocking event in the world. This can also be seen as someone who is reminiscing the past, wishing they could go back to normal before restrictions are placed for social distancing. The second artwork shows COVID-19 would look like, depicted as this ball-shaped virus with spikes going outward. I wanted to express the shape of the virus on canvas and use outer space as the background by using styrofoams, pushpins, and acrylic paint. There are a variety of colors to show how there are several types of COVID-19 that exist. I also used a curved medium as it's more immersive and creates distortion when the audience view the artwork. This makes the artwork feel off balance and slightly weird, which conveys the general feeling around the pandemic. Although initially, COVID-19 would last for 1 or 2 years, it's becoming evident that it will go down in history as one of the largest pandemics to occur. During the pandemic, the social distancing policy was implemented, creating a rule to stay at least 1.5 or 2 meters away from each other. Just reading the numbers makes it easy to dismiss. However, it's a significant change to how we interact in our lives. This artwork expresses the policy in a physical form and visualizes it with a geodesic dome. The dome that I constructed is a 2V geodesic dome that measures 360 centimeters wide, which at the center will be 1.8 meters away from the edge of the dome. This expresses clearly how much space 1.8 meters occupies for the audience to remember. COVID-19 has brought the attention of every nation's citizens towards their leaders and government. They are responsible for the safety of Indonesian citizens as their policies are actively preventing the pandemic from worsening. Despite being a team effort, our president has become the symbolic figure that people think of like the person in charge. Inspired by Dustin Yellen's psychogeographies, this artwork uses multiple acrylic glass and sticker paper to create an image of President Jokowi with a pixel effect. The colors of each pixel, green, yellow, red, and black, are used to associate risk levels of COVID-19, while white and blue are used to complement other colors. Looking at how severe the pandemic has been unfolding, I imagine historians studying COVID-19 in the future to better understand life during the pandemic. The mask has become a symbolic relic in this pandemic and even sparked controversies in some places. I wanted to express the mask as an artifact found in the distant future, where it is displayed inside an acrylic box with the title Artifact to imitate the idea of being placed in a museum. I purposely made the mask look burned and dirty to show age, the events it has been through, and the character of a true artifact. Overall, I enjoyed the process of making these artworks. I've put in a lot of effort and time to make these artworks throughout the years, which I was able to overcome obstacles and challenges along the way, making the result of the exhibition much more satisfying to me. Thank you for watching.
I have always struggled with expressing myself through words, and some things are just very hard to explain. In the past couple of years, the struggle has become more prominent. It became hard to open up and tell others what exactly I'm feeling or why I feel a certain way. It would get very frustrating when I try to explain but no one else seems to get it. However, sometimes I also don't really understand what I'm feeling. I've learned that visualizing what goes on in my head helps me make sense of them. My exhibition follows the theme of experience, specifically my personal experience with anxiety. I want to explore this theme through my eyes as it will allow me to depict personal yet authentic struggles that others might find relatable. The series of artworks emphasize daily experiences, what anxiety can look like in a normal day-to-day setting. Many of the figures in my artworks mimic the visualization of experiencing this struggle. I utilize many colors, most are bright and highly saturated colors that I purposefully use to communicate the feeling of being overwhelmed. Like in my first work, The World as I See It portrays the experience of engaging in a normal everyday activity whilst being controlled by social anxiety. This work was inspired by my own experiences, and it is intended to depict an individual in a public setting wary of the eyes that follows them. My intention is to capture what the mind tricks us to see when experiencing social anxiety. I wanted to depict the experience of not knowing between what's real and what's not real. My second work is intended to capture the overwhelming feeling of being controlled by anxiety when dealing with crowded places. The big pink figure is pictured to be controlling the blue figure, showing the feeling of being foreign to oneself, ultimately losing control of our own body. Only the figure in the middle is blue while everything else around them is pink, representing the feeling of having no control over anything else around us. In my third work, titled Coward, it is intended to represent self-disgust, representing the feeling of being disappointed at ourselves during times when we find ourselves avoiding situations that scare us. I decided to only depict the shadow of a figure to imply that there is someone behind the image, hiding from the focus of the painting. Similar to Paralyzed, my fourth work, called Consumed, depicts how anxiety can cause an overwhelming feeling of being devoured and not being able to escape the feeling. The red liquid-like form behind the figure represents the anxiety, and the figure mimics our struggle of trying to separate ourselves from it. Disoriented, my fifth work, like Consumed, is the first time I've ever explored digital art. Throughout exploring the method, I have found my own style. I focus a lot on the face and what it can represent. In this work, I wanted to focus on the ways of coping and escaping. I used the space such as the grass and the room itself, and the figure, specifically their face, to create a different reality. Tired is my last digital art piece. It depicts a figure in a big room sitting on the bed. I wanted this piece to capture the experience of feeling small and alone. I intended to show how tiring it is to be stuck with yourself. I once again used space to represent this experience. I purposefully made the surrounding dull and colorless to mimic coldness. My last work is a cement sculpture. This was my first time making sculptures. It took me a while to figure out the best way to create a good one. Many people, when nervous, experience the urge to vomit. I named this work daily routine because I experience this feeling daily. I wanted to convey a feeling that almost everyone have experienced, which allows me to connect with the audience more. In terms of expressing emotions, art can act as a universal language. If I can communicate to myself what I am feeling through art, then maybe I can reach out to people through my works. I wanted to create artworks that can visualize what I have personally experienced in the hopes that people who see it will know that they are not struggling alone.
Greetings, teachers, parents, students, and members of the community. I want to thank you for joining us for the Diploma Program Visual Arts Exhibition. I would like to begin with some thank yous. First of all, to Pak Santosa and Ibu Adisti, and also to Pak Eric, without whom this would not have been possible. I also want to thank members of the General Affairs and members of Finance who helped out with getting supplies, getting art supplies for students, and arranging reimbursements when needed. Obviously, I want to thank all the students. I really enjoyed your art this year. I was interested in what it would be when I saw the theme was existence, and I don't say interested in a bad way. I was just genuinely interested in seeing what you would do with it. Often there's this sort of difference between how we view existence versus how we view living, and I was interested to see with how you played with the difference between those two. And I can honestly say I was not disappointed. So I'm always struck by the creativity of our students when it comes to these things. But this year in particular, I was inspired by your vulnerability. You know, the arts and visual arts stand out among the IB courses in that your entire product, your process is put on display for everyone to see. And in showing the personal aspects of your emotional and artistic growth, you also showed a great deal of courage and willingness to be vulnerable in front of your peers, your teachers, your family, and total strangers. And I think that that will serve you well as you continue your education and your lives beyond your time at Global Jaya. So I want to thank you for not just sharing your art with us, but also for sharing yourselves and sharing your lives and allowing us a little glimpse into who you are, not only as artists, but as people. So thank you so much.